I have only 2 weeks left at College of the Holy Cross. And over my 3 years in Worcester, Mass. And 1 year abroad in Australia, I have acquired no land. But there are places that are mine. I frequent them and I'm comfortable there. Places change though, and I don't want to forget the places that were important to me. This short film will tour a few of them as they are today. I've shaped the places I've lived the same way they've shaped me. We grew and changed together, starting with Clark Hall. It's impossible to mention anywhere without mentioning one of the most important decisions of my college career. And it's a decision I didn't even make. The decision Holy Cross Housing made to place me into Clark Hall. It still blows my mind that such an arbitrary decision determined so many of the people I'd stay closest to even years later. That's where I met my closest friends and my best friend, my randomly assigned roommate, Duncan. I was lucky to have a room constantly filled with friends from up and down the hall and rugby equipment which we had to hold on to as freshmen. A summer camp lens covers my brain as I remember freshman year in my dorm back then. Healy Hall, dorm 213 with Duncan. My relationship cemented. Every weekend in Healy, Duncan and I would throw a dorm pregame before migrating to the rugby house or other unknown houses we were going to try to get into that weekend. I'll never forget the first weekend Duncan cleaned the entire room by himself without asking for help or telling me to come back early. Just a genuine homie move. Going off campus to parties, knowing we might get rejected at the door, was a risk we all embraced, especially after having had a blast during our rowdy pregames, screaming 223 by YNW Melly and Baby Keem. As weird as it sounds, I loved the uncertainty of whether we'd get into a party. It made eventual entry somewhere a thrill which resonated through the occasional rejection from an off-campus house. Through the weekend adventures of sophomore year, Healy Hall continued as my base camp, from which me and my friends traversed to unknown parties and lively adventures that defined our sophomore weekends. I knew I wanted to play higher level rugby, so I signed up for a year abroad in Australia, and I honestly had such a good time, I almost feel bad bragging about it. I'll start with St. Mary's College. St. Mary's College defined my year abroad. I met a huge amount of Australians who I would still call close friends today. St. Mary's generously gave me a room and access to the senior common room over the summer, which is where I would spend hours a day cooking every meal. It was an incredibly productive and peaceful summer of reflection and growth. I was given the space and time to focus on myself and my rugby. I practiced, worked out, and ate all summer with occasional shifts as a barista working at a cafe. Constant, beautiful summer days, hitting the gym, and then swimming while rehabbing some turf toe I got from playing so many sevens touch sessions with the Fijians. While I spent much of my summer out visiting friends all around Australia and taking an RV surfing down the East Coast with my parents, the time I spent back in Melbourne at St. Mary's was amazing. At my last dinner at St. Mary's, they let us give a speech. This is what I had to say. People have asked why I decided to stay for a whole year. I guess I just had a feeling I wouldn't want to go home. It's tough to say goodbye to such chill and accepting people, but it's time for me to see my family and friends back home so they can hear the stories I have with all of you. I will miss my friends here, and I hope to be visited by many of you. I'm still not sure how to answer how was Australia, but I suppose I'll let them know that I played a lot of rugby and was friends with a bunch of goofballs who tried to convince me to like techno. I will definitely go visit my friends in Melbourne when I'm older, and hopefully they'll come visit me. Continuing from St. Mary's, I'd like to go to the elite athlete room. The resources allocated to rugby in Australia gave me a taste of what it would feel like to be taken seriously as an athlete, as rugby is a varsity program at the University of Melbourne. As a student athlete at the University of Melbourne, I had unlimited physio and professional, full-time, high-quality trainers working to get me into peak shape. Coach Ben and Coach Hugo changed the way I train in the gym and helped me make the most out of my time in Australia. More than that, I had my own private varsity gym through the elite athlete program, which only ever had at most 2 people in it at any given time. It felt like a second home where I could jump on the iPad, bump my music, and get better every single day at any hour. Australia also definitely has a culture fit for an active lifestyle, as they're very sporty people, which made it a perfect place for me to begin working on my swimming and biking as well. In terms of physical improvement, nothing compared to the UniMelb varsity gym. It's funny watching these old videos of my lifts. Even in just 1 year, I've grown far more athletic, mobile, and explosive, and I can't wait to continue to improve. Coffee machine technologies. For the second semester, I probably went to the same espresso shop 40% of all days. Me and my friends would consistently go, sit down, read, and talk for hours. I found out halfway through the semester that the manager at CM Tech, as we nicknamed it, used to play for my men's club, and I convinced him to come back out and run around. Me and Vito played 3 games together until I left the country. I love this photo of me and my favorite staff. This one's Vito. My worlds collided when I introduced CM Tech to my rugby friends as we were doing morning practices. Our routine was to train at around 8 a.m., then hang out and drink piccolos at CM Tech for a while. Those were my favorite mornings. What is most often a large patch of dirt or a massive puddle of mud occasionally became a field for us to play on. Rain practices at freshman field made me feel more connected to Holy Cross than anything. 2 sets of posts bracketing a big tide pool, and yet we still play. As a freshman rocking up to my first few practices, meeting guys who immediately were looking out for me was special. A beautiful goose-covered field that I could call mine. I learned so much through chippy practices on freshman field, and I hope Holy Cross Rugby can keep that level of grit that was passed on to me. I'll definitely be coming back to watch home games, so make sure you guys train hard and make me proud. Honestly, freshman field is where I learned I'd rather compete than win. There's no satisfaction in winning without the grind of a game, and I believe that realization is an important milestone in my mind as an athlete, especially when games get tough. It makes me question if I would prefer the opposing team just roll over. Blowouts are a waste of time, so I might as well appreciate it when I get the opportunity to play a tough team that wants to compete. I believe the fact that I was playing at College of the Holy Cross rather than at another more rugby-focused school was a clear part of God's plan for me. I was leading a team rather than being a screw in the machine. I believe the freedom to experiment was integral to my love of rugby, and I'm grateful to Coach Wim's senior year for trusting me and sharing my vision for where we could go. Jumping back to junior year abroad, I leveled up my rugby playing ability in Australia. This is where I trained and grew with a group of sevens players that I felt incredibly close to. People that I respected as players and people, and helped me better understand how to function on a team where everybody puts everything on the line. We wanted to win our University Nationals competition so bad, and I'm grateful I got to be a piece in the puzzle of the 2023 University Nationals Sevens team from UniMelb. While I look back on the actual competition extremely fondly, I look back on my training time in the rain before traveling to the Gold Coast equally affectionately. At those practices, we weren't just working hard, everybody was desperate to improve. You could feel the level of focus at every session, and this is the environment I want to bring to my future rugby career. My walls. Passing against the wall after every lift, regardless of how tired, was something I started in Australia. I learned a lot from passing against the wall. My pass improved dramatically, but most importantly, I improved at not caring what other people think. It's loud and public to be slamming a half rugby ball against the wall, but it provides results, so it comes down to if I want to improve more than I want to be seen as normal. Especially because my wall in Australia was right outside St. Mary's and my wall at Holy Cross is right outside the gym, people definitely find it strange. For other athletes, I think I can equate it to when they first start doing plyometrics and functional training in the gym. If you are doing anything different in the gym, you will feel like people are looking at you. But nowadays, I don't feel like anyone's looking at me funny, so maybe they never were. I've learned through the process that as long as I keep working hard towards my goals, there is no need for me to worry about what everyone else thinks. And frankly, I don't think people were ever putting that much thought into why I was slamming half a rugby ball into the wall so much. Ten Boyden is my finale. I'm proud of who I am and who I'm friends with. There's so much I could say about my house today, but it's so hard to speak when the credits are ready to roll. I love my friends, and I'm glad I got to spend so much time with them. We threw some really fun parties and had some very mellow mornings. I'm going to go a lot of different places in my life after college, but I'm glad I can remember my time at Holy Cross so fondly. As the curtains close, I hope my friends are watching this video years from today. Connect with me again. Call me when you're in whatever city or country I'm living in, and let's hang out. Also, special thank you to my little brother Jamie for letting me use his original unreleased song on this part. Yeah, that's my short film. Subscribe.